Hi there, welcome to the video on how to play the Domino Race game. This is for my Math 110 and Culinary 170 classes in case they wanted to play this fun little game. It's just a refresher on how to add and subtract fractions simply using dominoes. So the way the game works, and a lot of you have the modules, so you have the rules already so you can look at, but the way the game works is you take your dominoes and you can play this with on your own. You can play this with other people. Really, it works pretty well with up to like four people or so. But the idea is that you're gonna shuffle all your dominoes. Obviously, I have some more dominoes over here off to the side, and you're just gonna pick two to start with. And so what'll happen is, say I've got these two dominoes right here, the double six and the 6-0. The way the game works is you're trying to make fractions, and the way you do that is by matching up like numbers. So in this particular case, it's pretty straightforward. You match them up on the sixes there, and what you have is the fraction 0, 6. 0, 6, like that. And of course, that simply equals 0, so it doesn't really do you a whole lot of good. And I could flip this around, and I could have that. Alternately, if you wanted, you could put the fraction like this. Notice I'm ignoring the matchup there. So in this case, I have 6 as my numerator and 0 as in my denominator, which becomes undefined. So that one, in the terms of the game, is probably not your best bet, but let me show you how it works another way. Say I've got, here we go. Say I've got the dominoes 4, 5, and 2, 4. There's only really one matching set number here. It's the 4s. So for this fraction, you could either set it up like this, in which case you would read numerator, denominator. So you would have 2, here, let me just get that for you. You would have 2 fifths, ignoring the 4, or you could turn it around and have 5 halves, like that. Either way is fine. Now, the way you play this game is you're trying to get a total of 5 points. And the way you do that is by building onto this fraction that you've built. So let's say I've stuck with the 2 fifths. Say that's the one I want to work with. So my score is going to start out at just 2 fifths. That's how you start your first turn, is you just make that initial fraction. Then, on your next turn and subsequent turns, you're going to pick a domino and see if it matches anything. Double blank, doesn't go anywhere, so I'm just going to put that off to the side. And what I suggest if you're playing with other people is set them out front so people can see them. That way, if on their turn you have discarded a domino that they want, they can just grab that rather than having to grab a face-down domino. So here, I've got this guy right here, 5 zeros. I could, if I wanted, attach this here, and what would happen is if I did this, I would have the fraction 4 over 0. You see how the 5 is where it matches up, so I ignore that, and it's just numerator, denominator. I don't go all the way up here to the 2. I'm just looking at where the attachment is, 4, 0. The problem is that's undefined, and I can't really add undefined to my score, so I'm not going to use that one either. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. 2 6. It only matches up to one spot, so it goes right here with the 2s. So I'll read this, ignoring the one that's not attached, and I'll have 6 fourths as my fraction. 6 fourths. And then to get my score, I'm going to just add these two together. So I have 2 fifths plus 6 fourths. Now, a lot of you might notice that this guy here can be reduced. It might make the problem easier if we go ahead and do that. So I have 2 fifths plus, let's see, 6 and 4. 2 goes into both of those, so 6 is 3 times 2, and 4 is 2 times 2. So 2's go away, and I'm left with 2 fifths plus 3 halves. Okay? So when you look at this problem, you think about it, what's a common denominator between 2 fifths and 3 halves? We always got to think of an upward motion. So 5 and 2 both go into 10. So what will happen here is I'll have something over 10 plus something else over 10. Now, our original fractions were 2 fifths and 3 halves. So 5 times 2 gave me 10. So if I do 2 times 2, that'll give me 4. And then 2 times 5 gave me 10. So I'll have 3 times 5 to give me 15. You've got to be fair. If I multiplied the 5 by 2 to get 10, I got to do the same thing to the 2. If I multiplied the 2 by 5 to get 10, I got to do the same thing to the 3. And then when they have the common denominators, you simply keep the same denominator and do 4 plus 15 gives you 19. And there you go, 19 tenths. On my next turn, I would draw another domino and try to get my score higher. Now, say you get your score a little too high, because the goal of the game is to get just 5 points. You notice right here, I almost have 2 points, because 20 tenths would be 2. So say I go too high. Right now, my dominoes are going in an upward motion. See how it's going from left to right, going upward? If I wanted to subtract, I simply would grab a domino, and let's see if I can find one that actually will work in this situation. Oh, here we go. I'd grab a domino, the 4/4, and I would make it go in the downward motion. So here, these are going up. Anything I add here is going to be adding upward, but anything going downward is going to be a subtraction. So what would happen is I would take my score and I would subtract from it, looking at the connection, 5/4. So I would do minus 5/4. Ignore the double and just go 5/4, numerator, denominator. And so here, when I have 19 tenths minus 5/4, the common denominator, the easiest one is going to be 20. So I have something over 20 minus something else over 20. 10 times 2 gave me 20, so 19 times 2 gives me 38. And 4 times 5 gives me 20, so 5 times 5 gives me 25. And so for your answer on that one, you would simply keep the 20 in your denominator and do 38 minus 25. That's going to give you, what, 13? And there would be your score. And so the goal of this game is you're trying to reach 5. Now, clearly in this case, if you were at 2 points already, you wouldn't start subtracting just yet. But a lot of times people will get, they'll get up to 6 points. Like, oh, I got to remove some more. So that's kind of the gist of Domino Race. I hope it works for you, and I hope you enjoy the game. Thanks.